What's up, everybody? My name's Josh.
And my name's Nick.
And we're here to give you
a reality check. Or should we say a reality X?
Oh.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are covering a little bit something new, somewhere we've never been, and an area that we aren't too familiar with, but we're still loving regardless. We have a very special guest from Peacock's new series, DestinationX, Miss Tai Lowry, with us in the studio today. Welcome.
Ooh. Yes. Bam.
Yes, this marks the spot. Tai, you're with us today. Thank you so much for being here. We are so excited to talk to you about such an interesting show and such a new kind of series. So we are super excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm so happy to be here.
Beautiful. You look
this
beautiful.
Pink background. You're giving like you're ready to do like a beauty influencer. Like, get ready with me.
You get it. You see the vision. You see it. Yes.
I love it.
All of that.
I know that you got some things you've ready to chat about, Henny.
Yes, you look like a woman on a mission for sure.
I have receipts. I have notes. I'm ready.
Already. So I think that everything that something that all of us want to know, and we're just going to start this off very easy. How was your overall experience? This is a new show. This isn't, you have a little bit of pressure as somebody who's season 1 on a new show because we don't know what to expect as a viewer, and you don't know what to expect as a contestant. So, how was that experience?
It was difficult. It was very, very hard. Like you said, it's almost impossible to kind of know how to prepare for a show that hasn't been produced before. So that was always my biggest concern is what is exactly going to happen? How is this going to work? What are the rules going to be? What are the twists going to be? So what I did is when I made it far in the casting process and I was like, okay, I'm probably getting on the show, I went all over the internet and I found the versions of DestinationX that were already produced in other countries. So there was a Belgium version, there was a Netherlands version, and there was a France version that were all released by the time I was doing casting. All in different countries, different languages. I was doing all this internet sleuthing, trying to figure out, I'm like, how can I watch this in the US? And I'm not a techie person, so like VPNs and stuff, that was too much. And eventually I found a kind stranger on Reddit who downloaded and sent me all of the episodes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes,
that's fierce.
And I translated them from Dutch because the shit was in Dutch. Okay. Yes, baby.
I didn't even know that this existed in other countries. I feel like I've never seen a concept like DestinationX. I was really excited because, like you, I was also a flight attendant for a while. So I used to fly for the big school buses up in the air, but I don't anymore. But I was like, this is such a cool show. And then they showed your clip of your portion of your audition video of you being on the plane, or you posted it. We saw it somewhere, and I was like, I literally did the same thing because I applied too, and I was like, you know what, that is so cool that one flight attendant is. I think it's perfect for the show. So it was really, really cool to see.
And I think that's why I got their attention. So I didn't apply for the show. I was found. I was scouted on my Instagram. Yes. It's just going to come over. Yes.
I don't chase, I attract. I don't chase, I attract. Yes.
I attract. Exactly. I'm just over here just doing me.
Come on, excellence.
Right. Yes. So I think it was because of my profile. I had my flight attendant stuff and my lawyer stuff. And for a show like this, it's, travel and geography and, culture based, but then it's a social game. You're going to have strategy. So I think they saw those two different parts of my personality and they're like, this is going to be the perfect combination for the show. And was and is.
Yes.
I loved it.
How did you feel living on a bus? Because when I'm watching this and I see it's not like you're in Big Brother or obviously Survivor, you're outside, but the challenge, you're inside, you're on Big Brother, you're in a house. A lot of these shows these days aren't in this kind of living environment. Did you feel like it was hard to adjust?
It wasn't. I'm very adaptable. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can make do pretty much anything, like anywhere, any situation.
Mhm.
I've traveled, I've backpacked, I've slept in hostels. I love hostels. So
Yeah.
I saw the bus as another adventure. I'm like, it's a road trip. I've never done this before. I always
Hell
try to
yeah.
go in with an open mind to new situations. And then when I got in there, I was like, okay, this is cool. This is cool. This is cool for the most part. The hardest part for me was not having any privacy or quiet.
That's what I
Mhm.
was just about to ask. I was like, who's snoring? I know somebody's got to have the snoring bad or something.
Believe it or not, no one snored, not one person.
Ah.
And I verified it because I would have to get up sometimes and use the restroom in the middle of the night. Everybody's sleeping. And I'm like, going to go to the bathroom. I'm like, damn, even the boys aren't snoring. Like, we a good group, but
Yeah.
Come
no snoring.
on.
Yes, no snoring. Thank God. Thank God. It got
I
a little
know.
funky. Got a little funky sometimes.
Yeah. I know if
I
I
think
was on that bus, they would have put me right in the map room because I snore so bad, nobody would want to deal with it. They'd be like,
yeah.
pull over. You got to pull this bus over now. Nobody would sleep. Oh my God.
I don't know if this is a question that I mean, I'm just gonna ask it anyway, but like, do you feel the bus move while you're sleeping? Like, is that like or like, do they park up somewhere and like then you guys sleep? Or you're not really sure?
I mean, I was there, so I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I think that this is okay. So because of seatbelt laws, the bus cannot be moving while we're laying down.
Mm.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, because they didn't have like I don't know, seatbelts that could strap around our whole
Yeah.
bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so nighttime we did not travel. No.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, we did not
interesting.
travel at
It's
night.
like you guys are your own little band. You're like, in a big tour bus going around the country, all around the world and everything.
I mean, yeah, it was like a tricked out tour bus. Like y'all
Yeah.
saw it. It was nice. I
No,
came
it was
in there, I was
nice.
like,
It was
ooh,
nice.
look what they got for us, like
You're like, I want to get into some of this tea with you.
Yeah.
You had a very interesting elimination episode. We are just going to get right into it.
yes.
And it wasn't necessarily as straightforward as some of your fellow castmates thus far in the season. There was a little bit of trickery, a little bit of connivery, some twists in the game that ended up kind of helping sway the needle in other people's favors. How do you feel about your elimination? Do you feel kind of satisfied with it now that the show is coming out? Is it bringing up some kind of fresh wounds? How did you feel? How do you feel about it?
So initially when I first watched it, my first watch, I felt a little bit of that sting again. Just seeing the other conversations and seeing other stuff that I wasn't aware of until I watched it. I was like, oh wow,
So they were
there was
saying
even
that.
more to it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was like,
okay, I'm gonna write that down.
y'all got me good though. Y'all really got me.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's a game, so I love social strategy games. I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. I got outplayed. Okay, that's the end of it. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's also just it was a juicy ending. It was a juicy episode. So
Yeah.
I walked away watching, after watching it, like I make good TV, like
Yes.
I make
Yes.
good TV. Like
No,
this was a good
definitely.
episode. This is people's favorite episode. Everybody's still talking about episode 4.
I was just about to say.
I'm not on the bus anymore. I mean, I might as well be because
Mhm.
this is what all the conversation is about. So I just felt like I was like, damn, I mean, it sucked in the moment when it was happening. But even as I was getting eliminated, at first, when, I came up there, you saw I had my hand on my hip. I was like, I need answers, And Kim was like, what happened? What had happened was my line calling everybody out, right? And then as soon as Biggie said the twist and everything, I kind of was like, okay, well played.
Yeah.
Well played. And I give him that credit at the end. I was like, well, his game worked out. His strategy was better than mine. He's on the bus and I'm not. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
So
No, for
yeah.
real. I
loved it. I think it was a good reaction because you still had your feelings and you're still, allowing yourself to get the closure that you deserve. But you also, I felt like, are self-aware enough and kind of mature enough to be like, okay, you know what? No hard feelings. It's not personal. You're trying to win that money just like I am. You did good. I didn't do as good. Peace out. Drive safe. That was the vibe I got.
Exactly. And that's been my attitude, of course, like post filming. Like it was a game. I got outplayed. Y'all got me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You
there's
got me
been
good, girl. Yeah.
yeah. It's just a game.
Yeah.
And I had so much fun playing. I had the best experience there. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. So I've just been having fun and living my life and everything since then. Like I'm happy that I get to share this experience with the world. I'm happy that I'm keeping the folks fed and entertained
Yes.
with my
Mother.
messiness. Because let's be real, I mean, the show is good, but it didn't really get good till it got juicy with my lie and my
Mhm.
mess
No,
all over
because
the bus.
you
I love
stirred
it.
up that bus, and I like as two reality TV show lovers, like me and Nick, like we ping pong battle like the ideas back and forth of like there's always that one little thing that happens that could have changed everything. What if you're the one who was in Biggie's spot, who was like you have to try make sure that one person is guessing a different country, or what if you are paired off with someone who wasn't Rick and Biggie and won that challenge and got that clue. And like, I'm thinking about
Yeah.
all these things. Like, what are the different variables that you think would have happened? Like, what if you were with Shane and Allie and, you guys had that alliance and like,
Yeah.
like what would have happened if just one thing was different?
This is why
I
Josh,
asked myself that too.
yeah. This is why Josh would not be good at being eliminated. This this gear would never stop.
It wouldn't. It wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's I have those thoughts too. Like, what if this is one of my big ones? When I was doing the eating challenge and I was paired with Rick and Biggie,
Mm-hmm.
that made me nervous. I didn't have good social standing on the bus. So when I found out the twist was that only those two in the sky, would see the clue and not me, that whole challenge, I was going back and forth in my head, like, do I even want to win this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look in the episode after I won, I kept going like, I was like smiling, but I kept putting my hands. That's my body language for I'm fucking
Yes.
stressed out, because
Yeah. Oh God.
because yeah, I was like, oh, I won, yay! But in my head, I was like, this isn't really that good, depending on what they tell me.
Yeah.
I almost threw the challenge in the second round. We were pretty much even, and Allie was thinking of going between. It was either the cow tongue or something else, and I could tell by the texture she was looking for the cow tongue, which one it was. And she was my alliance member, my girl. So I just was in my head. I was like, do I tell her? Do I tell her? And then the next one I'll just like lose. But I'm a competitor, so I ain't losing nothing, okay, on purpose. I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? Let me just win. And maybe because Biggie's in my alliance, I'll get the right information.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure. I was always stressed out about that.
Yeah.
At that point, did you feel like you had a better standing with Biggie than with Rick? Like, if one of them were to have lied to you, did you have like a feeling inside who that person would have been?
Yeah, I thought the person would have been Rick because Rick and I just didn't work together. Biggie was my alliance member that I had been working with since Geneva.
Yeah.
So I'm like, me and Biggie, we've been working together. Shit got crazy on the bus. I messed up. I made a boo-boo, but can we still work together? That was what was on my mind. Can we still work together? So when they gave me that clue and that information, I immediately knew it was false. I knew it was false because it wasn't specific enough. Allie had been telling me the clues when you win a challenge. She had told me them from Rome and Geneva. So I knew how specific they were. They told me this generic ass BS talking about, oh, it was a placemat with 3 colors. And I'm like, that could be different countries. That's not how the advantage works. But I didn't push back in front of them because I didn't want to get defensive and start arguing. And then they're just like, oh, look at her. Now she's I'm already the liar. I'm not trying to add more things to the list. So I just listened. I was like, okay, you really think so? And Rick was selling it. He said that he looked down below and he saw a soccer field. And he was like, yeah. And he was even telling me like it must be the soccer field for some German soccer team. I don't know. Wherever it was. And I was like, okay, whatever. I could tell they were really trying to sell me on it because it was just so flimsy. So my antenna is up because I'm like, this don't sound right. What do I do? Don't
Yeah.
nobody really, mess with me too much on the bus no more. But I have my girl Allie. So I'm like, okay, let me go talk to Allie. And the reason why I say I still have my girl Allie is because in episode 3, when the lie came out, Peter just busted me out. Peter just gave me the blues on this bus, okay?
Yeah.
Peter was giving me the blues.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy, man. But right after all that happened, Allie was extremely shocked because remember, first it was Shane who was exposed,
Yeah.
and that's her man. So she just like looked at me, and her eyes were huge. Her heart just looked like it sank on the floor, and she was like, "Tai, tell me this isn't true. Has Shane been lying to me? He's lied to me." And I was like, yes, but don't be mad at him because I did the same thing, and we still good, right? I was like, no, because that's the thing. It's like if you're mad at one, technically you should be mad at both of us.
Oh,
so I'm like, don't be mad at him and don't be mad at me. Just trying to play the game, but like don't freak out over it.
My point of view, and like obviously this is just me as a viewer who watches shows like this where everyone has to deceive somebody. Like you're playing a game, you're on a show, you're making reality TV, you're supposed to lie. You're supposed to be deceptive. Like, and not for nothing, the lie that you told on the grand scheme of the show wasn't really a big lie. Like, it's not like you gained this insane information over somebody else. You had a lie of you meeting somebody or not meeting somebody who just walked onto a bus. It's not like you had a lunch with her and she said, okay, this is where we might be going next. Or, she gave you your clue, which everybody knew. It's not like you lied about what was on the paper. Everyone knew about that. All you did was lie. And I wouldn't even say that you really lied. It's more or less Peter walked up on the bus. Peter was like, nice to see you again. And then you saw Janae, like, hey, nice to meet you. That's the lie that we're all gooping and gagging over?
The lie was that they're all losing their minds over. It was because then when later, I think it was Kim, Kim and Rick had just kind of pointed out that, well, if Peter met Shane, then Tai, you must have met Janae. And that's when I cemented the lie. So what was it? It's shown like a little bit was when I greeted Janae, I leaned in, I whispered to her, you see my mouth moving, and then she goes, So I had already, when I met Janae on the bridge, I told her I wanted to act like our conversation never happened. Because I was like strategy queen, right? I'm thinking in my brain, I'm meeting a new person. I'm not freaking out about this. I want to use this to my advantage. I'm trying to play this game. It's to my advantage if I can have this new person to myself, because she doesn't even know what this game is. She doesn't know how they're playing. She doesn't know how tricky these are, where to look for clues. The fact that there's like red herrings all over the place. She doesn't know, it's so twisted. And I got a good vibe from her. So I was like, okay, look, I want to protect you and I have an alliance, but we can't go up in there like we already friends. Because they're going to you guys. She was already going to be a target. I'm not going to attach myself to her so I can be a target with her. So I was like, I got your back, but we have to create distance. And this never happened. And she played along. To her credit, she played along because she could have busted me out. As soon as I lied in front of everybody, she could have been like, what are you talking about, Tai? We did meet.
Now, when you saw her and Peter and her were there, and you were getting the original clue, the initial meeting, did you think that was more of a clue to your location, or did you immediately think she's going to be integrated into the game somehow? Because as a viewer, I was like, oh, cool. Like maybe Janae is French. I don't know. I was like, okay, maybe that's a clue as to where we are. Love Island. Maybe we're in Fiji, I don't know. In my brain, I would have been I would have never thought that I would see her again. So I wouldn't have even thought to bring it up. It's just oh, cool. What if the person didn't even know Janae was from Love Island? So
I didn't know who she was from Love Island. I didn't watch Love Island that summer. I was on reserve, okay? I was working as a flight attendant on reserve.
Goodbye.
You know what I'm talking about. Yes.
The only
I
thing you're
was not
watching on
watching a
reserve
live
is if
stream
that
show
phone is
all
ringing.
summer.
Yeah. The only thing you watch on reserve is if your phone is ringing.
Exactly. Crew scheduling.
God.
You okay?
Yeah,
That's the only thing I was watching.
Yeah. The
So
probation officer, as I call them.
Yeah, so when I first saw Janae, I wasn't thinking anything game related at all. I thought she was a model. Like, cause in that episode they had those statues and people. I'm
It
like,
was
okay, there's like
so
people
beautiful too.
involved in the. Yeah, she walks up. She had that bust down middle part. That 30 inches, that stomach
Her hair
out,
is always
that hot
white.
pink, the stilettos. She
The
marched
body
up there.
was bodying.
Yeah.
The body, yes.
Bow. Yeah.
Bow. She came up the steps. She was like, Hey, y'all. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, thank you. Oh. And I'm just like, worried. I'm just thinking about what the card says.
Yeah.
And, she's still kind of there and stuff. It did not click to me that she was coming into game.
Yeah.
It took a little while for that to click. And I was like, oh.
Now,
okay.
when you were on the bus and the window kind of went from unfrosted and you saw her and Peter dancing, was it like a stomach drop, oh shit moment, or like a, oh, there's my friend? Like,
No, it was stomach drop. It was, oh shit. It was, I can't believe this is happening right here, right now. We just got done with an elimination. My friend Rachel went home. I felt guilty because I told her the wrong thing. So I was already kind of like emotional.
Yeah.
And this is really where, just in evaluating my own gameplay, I played a very strategic game up until that point, and then I played an emotional game, and then you see everything unravel. All of my decisions from there on out were guided by emotions rather than my logic and my emotion, my logic and my analytical skills, my strategy that was carrying me through. So when I saw Janae outside with Peter, my heart dropped. And then I started freaking out because I recognized Peter from Traders. I was like, oh, because when Shane told me and Shane talked. So we knew that each other had met somebody, but we weren't supposed to tell the rest of the cast. That was like part of the rules. Yeah. So he didn't know who Peter was, though. He just said, like, oh, it's this guy. Seems like he's about like 6'1" or something. He seems athletic. He seems capable. Like, he spoke well. He'll probably be good in the game. When I saw it was Pete, I was like, they got a trader up in here. I got to deal with Janae. We got a trader up in here. This is too much. This is too much. I just wanted to go to bed that night,
like start the engine. Let's go. Enough of today.
Enough of today. Let's pick it back up in the morning, Yeah.
That's so funny. I can't even imagine how I would react in that situation. But I'd be hey, Janae. I love her. I just need to know if you at least one time heard her say, Kenny.
I don't remember if she said it like that, but she did talk about Kenny quite a bit. And, and because I hadn't watched Love Island, I asked her a lot of questions about, oh, you did got a boyfriend off of there. Okay. And you placed. And she was telling me about, stuff that they had been doing. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yes.
Like, nice. Next. Yeah.
I do have another question for you. If you were to go on another show, doesn't need to be Destination X, just another show in general.
DestinationX All-Stars.
Oh,
All-Stars of the global edition. They can take players from each version because them Dutch ones that I watch, they speak English. Okay. They got a UK version, the US version, and people from the other European versions that can speak English. Put us all on the bus.
You're going to start to run out of places. They're going to have to send you to the moon or something.
Right?
Well, if you were to go on another show, do you think that your strategy is going to be a little bit different when it comes to the lying aspect? Do you think that, although lying was to gain knowledge, knowledge is power in any game, do you think you would change that strategy a little bit?
Yes. See, I had already been lying plenty in the game, but I was getting away with it because they were good
lying
lies.
Is fun. I don't care what anybody says. When you can do a harmless, like no consequence, no one's gonna get hurt or whatever from it. Lie. Like when I used to be a waiter, I used to love lying to my tables. Just like, oh yeah, I went skydiving last week. Well, who does that hurt? It's just fun. Who cares?
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up because when I was playing Destination X, I knew that I wanted to be really strategic and I wanted to be sneaky. I wanted to be mischievous. I look up to those types of players on the game and I wanted to see if I could pull off that type of, those big moves and lying, maybe like setting somebody up, and then everybody else
Yeah.
believes it, but it was like a lie I made myself. I
Yeah.
wanted to test and see if I could do those things. And it's like, I'm playing in a game. In my real life, I was a flight attendant at the time. I'm also an attorney. I have to be ethical. I have to be this and that and blah, blah, blah. I ain't in real life no more. I'm playing a game, baby. I'm a lie. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be something else. I'm
Yeah.
gonna lie.
I'm gonna
So
speak some non-truths. That's for
yes.
sure.
So going back to your question, if I was to play another game, I would still do what I have to do, but now I've learned to be more smart about lying. That
Mhm.
moment was just kind of like I just blurted it out. I said it really fast. I was like, no, no, let me today. And I was like, that's a dumb lie because it's just kind of obvious. Like if one
Yeah.
met one, the other's gonna meet the other.
Yeah.
So in my next game, I'll be better at lying. I'll be better.
Speaking of your next game, if you could handpick it, I know you just recently talked about this on social media, but I would love if you had one choice. You could handpick your next show. What is it? This is your pitch. If anybody from that realm is watching this, what show are you picking?
Traders, baby,
Yeah.
traders. I'm already in network. Peacock, I know you looking at me. You know me, okay?
Yes.
I
Look
already
at
got
the
a file
material. Look at the
open.
material.
Yes, look at the material. Traders for sure. And then my second, I think would probably be Big Brother.
I could
Mhm.
see you eating up on Big
You'd
Brother.
run that house like the Navy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would want to do Big
Mhm.
Brother. It's so long, I feel like that part would be hard. Like I said,
Yeah.
like just trying to separate like emotions from the game and everything when you're just really living in it for like months. But I'll be okay. I'll get it done.
Yeah.
Oh.
At least you have some more room to stretch out in Big Brother,
Yes,
There's a pool.
they have a pool. They got a little outdoor area. You could be working out.
Yeah.
Because when I was on Destination X, most of the time we're sitting on the bus and we're traveling from one location to the other. I'm sitting on my ass all day. They're giving us little
Mhm.
snacks and stuff. I'm eating. I'm not moving around. I was like, this show's making me fat. Like, I want to get out and start doing some challenges. I wanted to run around, like
Mhm.
that maze. I was like, all right, let me work off some of these chocolate bars I've been eating because I've just been sitting around gaining weight. Like, I want
I
to
love
play. I want to
that.
get active. I want to get
Mhm.
Yeah.
active.
Yeah.
Where do you feel like you stand with your current castmates? And do you think you've buried hatchets? Do you think you've opened new wounds? Where are we? Where are we in the universe right now?
Yeah. Where is your Destination X at?
Where's my
Yeah.
So, I mean, up until like yesterday, I thought everything was pretty, or wait, what's say Sunday? Up until Friday. Up until Friday, I thought that everything was pretty good, but I honestly don't know. I don't have any personal beef or drama with anybody on the cast. Let me
Mhm.
be clear. This was a game that we played 6, 7 months ago. Okay.
Yeah.
It's over. Y'all got me off the bus. Hooray, hooray. You
Mhm.
did what you had to do. But I think that maybe with some of my post exit interviews, I think it has opened up some wounds. And for other
Mhm.
people, I was simply speaking from my experience of how I felt in the game at the time. That's the questions I was asked. Okay. When
Yeah.
this happened, what did you think? When that, what did you think? Did you think this? Did you think that? It's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just my opinion. But there's been a lot of activity online I was not anticipating. That was kind
Yeah.
of surprised about. So we can talk about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you finding it hard to, as it kind of gets further and further from when you filmed, are you finding it hard to kind of recall all of the exact conversations you had on the bus and what happened in what location? And do you think that maybe there's a little bit of like recollection, recall issues that you're feeling like maybe some people are misremembering the past or anything like that?
I think that could be some of it for myself personally. As soon as I was ejected out of the game, my feelings were hurt, and I was like, "Damn!" And I wrote down a whole diary of every single thing. So also, I have a very good memory, just in general. So when I was in the game, every night I would recite to myself what day it was in the game because it's not like we had a calendar or anything. Is it Wednesday? Is it whatever? I would say day one. Day one challenge was the suitcases. The suitcases were, and I memorized each clue for each challenge each day. So I had a very strong recall of everything that happened. As soon as I got my phone back, I data dumped it all in there. So I recall very clearly there were a few things I was like a little bit fuzzy about, and I had actually talked to Shane. I had texted him and I was like, yeah, I just want to make sure like I'm like recalling this part back because the whole Janae Peter thing got really messy. But yeah, I think I have a good recall of what happened. And I think some of the issue is that I'm speaking from my experience on the inside. And at that point in the game, I was actually very isolated from the rest of the group. So I don't think they've ever actually heard me really say about how I was feeling in those moments and why I made certain decisions that I did. Now, granted, after we were finished filming, I reached out to every single person on the cast. I sent them DMs. I said, hey, let's talk. I even started a group chat. We still have it. I started a group chat. I'm all about unity. I want us all to be together. And if I'm not bitter about you guys blindsiding me and getting me off the bus, then there should be if I'm not bitter about it, then we shouldn't have a problem.
Right.
So that's why I especially made it a point, like I said, to make that group chat. We talked about getting together and having a little mini, reunion. I participated in that, tried to get everybody in it. But I think with this group, and I don't know if this was true for most reality shows, but I think there's some emotions and things that were in the game that are tending to kind of leak out in real life. And I want to go back to like the lying thing again, because like you said, when you're doing these games, people lie. People don't win Survivor. Tony didn't win Survivor twice by being honest. He lied to every person up in there, had a bitter jury, and won. It's how you do it. It's being smart about it. I was not smart about it when it came to Janae. Okay, but let's not act like Ty telling a lie is the end of the world. That's a crime in a reality TV show. That's the way you're supposed to play.
Yeah.
That's the way you play.
Exactly.
But yeah, and I think, like I said, I think there's certain things that happen within the game that leak out a little bit in real life. And for example, with that group chat, I had the group chat, and at the time after we were done with filming, the rest of the group, they really had feelings about Rick. Okay. And I think you do see throughout the series that Rick didn't have an alliance. He didn't have friends until Peter and Janae came in there. That's because nobody was messing with Rick. Rick had the reputation of being a very big liar. Again, we're in a game. So when I get out the game, I have the same reputation of Rick. I was like, Rick lied a lot, but let me call Rick. I get on the phone with Rick. We have a conversation. I'm like, cool. Yep. You lied in the game. I lied in the game. Game's over. Let's be friends.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the way I tried to do it with everyone. That's the way I tried to do it with everyone. But then again, like I said, I think there's some maybe sensitivity.
Some people, they can't leave it in the game. Some people are stuck on the bus, I think. And I think that's true for a lot of reality television shows. You see some people, I don't want to say that they don't want to, this is just as blunt as I can think to put this, is some people don't want to let go of their 15 minutes. And I think sometimes when you're really holding on to this experience that you had, some people, it's the coolest thing they've ever done, or it's the biggest thing they've ever done. So they find it hard to kind of move through it and stay there and stay in it and keep those feelings fresh. When I feel like, when that last camera shuts off and, the camera crew's headphones come down, the boom mic goes down, okay, like we're done. Leave it in the game. This was not anything personal. I don't actually like to lie to you. I'm not a liar, so I think some people have a hard time of knowing like when to pack it up.
When to pack it up. Yeah. And I mean, I'm out the game now.
Right.
But there's all this extra stuff that's still, coming from the cast to me. And I'm like, you guys, number one, can we just talk on the phone? Nobody's calling me. Like my line is open. My line is open. Nobody's blocked. Nobody's blocked. My DMs are my line is open.
She answers texts quickly. We know that for a fact.
Yeah, I'm very responsive. So like I said, it's been surprising. It's been surprising. And to be honest, it did trigger me a little bit. I'm gonna keep it real because it was giving like, why are we behaving like we're back on the bus? Stop trying to go back to that. We're in real life now. And in real life, I'm allowed to share my perspective of how I felt and why I made certain decisions and my perception at that time of why I thought people were doing certain things. Like, for example, when it came to my alliance with, my alliance, Allie, Biggie, Shane.
Yeah.
Allie and Shane dating is killing the alliance. Showmance means that I'm at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the bottom.
Yeah.
So now that I'm at the bottom, I'm starting to make other decisions to try to get myself in a better position. Because even though I was rocking with Allie from day one, she was the only person that I actually trusted on that bus, like the only one. Shane and Biggie, I work with them and I trust them mostly, but I knew that they were each other. They were just the boys. They were with each other. So
At an arm's length.
Yeah. I mean, we worked together. We worked together very well, actually. Shane and I, we were paired up several times for challenges. And, he would give me information. There was kind of like some messiness with the alliance. So if I do another show, I think alliance management is very important. There was a point in time where was it Shane who told me? No, it was Biggie. Biggie had told me he thought we were in Bern when we were in Geneva. And when he told me that, he told me not to tell Shane. And I thought that was odd because I'm like, if we're in an alliance, we shouldn't be hiding anything from each other. It should all be open information.
Yeah.
But because it was a new alliance and I wasn't that close with Biggie yet, I was like, okay, to earn his trust and loyalty, I'll do what he says. I'm not going to tell Shane that you think it's Bern. Shane runs up to me and was like, did Biggie tell you where he thinks we are? And I lied. I was like, no. Okay. So then the boys talk, right?
Yeah.
And then Shane running back up to me, and I'm like, see, you guys, like, I thought it was weird that someone is telling me to keep something from the other alliance member. We shouldn't kind of be operating like that. So the alliance, I felt pretty secure on it just because I needed some numbers. I had not traveled to Europe that much by the time I got on the show. And that was my dirty little secret because they thought that I had used to be a flight attendant a couple years ago. I didn't tell them that I was still flying. I didn't tell them that. And just the perception of being a flight
maybe
attendant.
You told a few more lies than we thought.
Yes, I did. I had to lower my threat level.
And I'm like, okay, there was the Johnny lie. There was the flight attendant lie. Lie does rhyme with tie.
It does. I hate that. I hate that.
Do you? Do you really?
I do.
That's what I wanted to ask you too. How much? So obviously being a flight attendant, it depends where you're based, what airline you're working for. A lot of people think that you hear flight attendant and they immediately think jet setting to all of the most crazy locations everywhere around the world, when like a lot of the times you're doing a turn to Boston or you have a layover in Columbus. Like It's not really as exciting as people like to think. So how much of your kind of like geographical prowess was studying and how much of it did you just rely on life experience?
That's a great question. So most of it, I would say, came from studying. And when I was getting, like I said, in the casting process, I had actually picked up a flight to London and I had picked up a flight to Milan. I almost tried to get a flight to Amsterdam, actually. And that's one of my biggest regrets is that I didn't go on my own. I still have the notebook. I had written down everything that I was going to see just to try to do, just to see what things were. But most of my preparation, just studying that other show, I did escape rooms. I bought memory games, lots of puzzle games, brain games. I would have them downloaded on my phone so I could do it on the jump seat. I made flashcards. I went to the library. I did, what do you call it? Oh gosh, what do you call it? I don't have the word, but I went to this cafe where they have a bunch of board games that you can rent. And dexterity. I was practicing dexterity games because I wanted to make sure I had a steady hand. I saw a dexterity challenge on the European one. So I just did all those kind of things.
What is that game where you're the doctor? What is that called?
Operation?
Operation.
Oh, Operation. Yeah, like that. Yeah. Dexterity games like Operation. Yes, yeah. I was playing games like that. So I think most of, that's really what carried me through the game was my preparation. And I knew because I hadn't been to Europe that much that I was going to need to rely on my social game and an alliance for sure.
Yeah. Where did you think going into it that you were going to be, where in the world would you have been most comfortable kind of picking up on clues, do you think? Were you like, I really hope we get to go to X because I know I'll pick it up quickly? Did you have a place like that in your mind? Or were you like, wherever they go, I'm just going to figure it out?
So I remember I studied a lot of, what did I study a lot? I started studying smaller countries. I did like Montenegro, I did Croatia. I thought that there was going to be some kind of like curveball. Like they're not going to make it so obvious. Like I did not think we were like going to be in Paris. I didn't think it was going to be all capitals. I knew that it was going to have to be modified for European players versus what I had already seen, but I thought I would be pretty good. Oh, and Italy too. Italy as well. When I watched the other seasons, and two of them, they just kept stopping in the same location and did the same kind of challenge in Italy somewhere, and I was like, I have a feeling that's going to come back up. They both also had twists about new players entering the game, believe it or not. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. So always in my head, and when I watch those seasons, I'm thinking, okay, how did the bus react to this? Or they made that decision. It was done totally, totally different.
Yeah.
But I always knew in the back of my head, we could have an extra player coming in the game. I didn't think it was going to be two, but I thought maybe one.
That's so interesting. I love that. I feel like there are so many places. Obviously, there's so many places in the world, and Josh and I, we actually watched all 4 of the episodes together. We like to try to watch TV together so we can like see what the other person's picking up on. And he was like, "Oh, I wouldn't have." Like you said, I wouldn't have thought that they were right by the Eiffel Tower. And I was like,
No.
"See, in my brain, this is just because I'm such a junkie about like production, kind of like behind the scenes stuff when it comes to shows." So I'm like, it's the first US season. It's the first time they're doing this. They want it to feel accessible to the viewers. Like, oh my goodness, it's Paris. So I'm like, they have to be in Paris because I know it. I've heard of like Geneva before. I've never been there, but as an American watching this for the first time, it reigns true to my experiences. So I'm like, I wouldn't have focused on the smaller places like you did. Not saying that wasn't a good idea. I probably would have failed if we had to go anywhere else that wasn't like Amsterdam, somewhere big. But in my mind, I'm thinking a lot of people probably had the same strategy as you and may have overlooked the bigger ones because they were too obvious,
Yeah.
That's interesting. It's really interesting to kind of figure out. Because you can't. It's first season it's happening in America. There's no baseline, so
there's no blueprint. Yeah, there's no reference.
All you can do is
you're the blueprint now.
I'm the blueprint. Yeah.
Imagine being the blueprint. Like that's crazy. That's
fierce. Is there any other hot topics, anything that you want to, I guess, touch on? Anything you want to talk about that we've kind of missed?
We're giving you the floor. What is it? What message do you want to leave with the DestinationX fandom? If there's anything that you want to bring up, that you want to set the record straight on, anything.
Any messages you want to give to your castmates that have been
your fans
making YouTube videos or
the YouTube video? I mean, the YouTube video, it really shocked me because they started off saying about how I didn't show up, I canceled on them, I won't answer the phone, like I just don't want to film with them for some reason. And it was really, like I said, it really caught me off guard because that wasn't the case. We had plans for me to actually pick them up, take them to DC, film with them, do all of that on Thursday. And then they informed me that they were going to dinner instead and they wouldn't be available. So we tried to do it the next day on Friday. I bought my pajamas. They have like this under the covers thing. I bought my pajamas, had all my stuff. And Friday, honestly, it didn't work out for me. I have a job, I work, I'm not a social media star or anything. I have bills to pay. And where they were actually staying with Allie's family. Allie's family is from Maryland. So yeah, her family's in Maryland. Her family's here. So she spent the week up here staying with her family, spending time with her family. I think she also saw a grandma, some other family members. And we were also supposed to film as well. But like I said, I was very shocked when in her video, she excludes the part about how I had planned. I was going to roll out the red carpet because it was Juneteenth too. So I was in a festive mood. I was going to take them to Ben's Chili Bowl, very, very famous historic landmark in Washington, D.C. to go eat. And then we were going to go to the skate party. We're going to have like this whole fun day. And
Aww.
yeah, and then they
We'll do it with you. We'll come down and do it
somebody,
with
yes,
you.
somebody. I wanted to host them. I really wanted to show them. I said, this is like the real DC, not just like the
Yeah.
touristy stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, and they weren't available because they went to dinner. So then the next day, when I had every intent of going, but like I said, I have clients, I have bills to pay. And the week before, I was actually in Austin with them. I had visited just to be there, just to see the girls. I stayed with Rachel. I spent time with Mac and Allie. I thought we were all, you know, close and everything. Allie was dealing with some backlash. There was like some Twitter drama and stuff, you know, it's just things that, you know, she definitely does not deserve at all. But it was a lot. And it's our first time going through this experience. So I went over to her house. I spent a lot of time with her, just comforting her. I thought that we were pretty close. So, like I said, some of the things, I mean, just that whole Under the Covers episode itself, it made me kind of feel like I said, it was giving back in the bus. I thought it was just they were going to ask me some questions. I did not know that they were going to call Biggie and Shane on FaceTime and then dissect and pick apart every single thing that I said in my interviews. I didn't know my interviews were that triggering. After I did my interviews, other castmates personally called, texted, reached out to me and said, I watched all your interviews and they were great. You know, I got feedback from so many different sources. They were like, wow, you're really good. You're great at storytelling. You brought so many things to life. Like it was just good interviews. I felt like I was just speaking from my experience, from my perspective at that time. I'm not sure if that was kind of internalized on their end, like this is what I think of you now. No, Shane, I don't think you're intimidated by me now. I thought you were intimidated by me in the game. And I also thought that because people had told me that after I had won the croquet challenge and I was really celebrating. Huh?
Which you ate.
Eight.
You croquate that, honey.
You croquate that.
And after I won, you saw me. I was like, out of that map room. And I did celebrate more than that. They didn't put it all there. I was like, yes, I got this. I was happy, right? Shane didn't like that. Shane thought I was getting too cocky. My head was getting too big or something like that.
Yeah.
So at that time in the game, and Shane also was threatened by my closest with Allie. He was. He confronted me about that.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where it's like I can speak very comfortably in the past tense about what happened and it's not going to affect me right now. So next week's episode, if I watch it and somebody after I get off the bus and somebody was like, good man, you know, like bye Ty, dang dong, the witch is dead, F her, all this other stuff, I'm not gonna get mad about that right now. I don't care no more. That was back on the bus. Like we've gotten to know each other in real life and I've been trying to cultivate real friendships in real life. I've been trying to get everybody together to do a reunion. I am always in the group chat trying to make that happen. But yeah, it was just that it felt like a blindside again. It felt like a blindside.
It sounds like the people that, you know, you did the show with are taking your current words and reacting as their past selves, kind of, you know, it's like I said earlier, they're not able to kind of move on, get out of the bus. And it sounds like, unfortunately, your good intentions have been perceived as, you know, ill-intended.
I don't have a problem with anybody.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I think also I'm an attorney and a litigator, a trial attorney. So my whole experience, you know, everything is in an adversarial environment. I am trained and used to standing on one side, having my points, having my opinion, having my arguments, thinking that everything I say is right and the judge need to rule in my favor. And then guess what? Sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes it gets ruled against me. Sometimes I lose a motion or a case or an argument. And then afterwards I'm like, all right, good job, counsel. You know, and I can move on. I'm going to the next case.
Yeah.
Because it's not about the feelings and all of that. And I think that this is what I feel, at least. What I feel is that there are some others that aren't able to accept that my experience in the game is not like we have different experiences, right?
Yeah.
And when I speak on my experience of the game, like I felt that Allie didn't have my back as a girl's girl. That's exactly how I felt. When I got off that bus, I was very upset. And I was very upset with her because in the game, I had specifically asked for her to help me when I had that fake clue from Biggie.
Yeah.
And even the way I had to ask her, it was so crazy. Shane was like bodyguarding Allie. I could not get a one-on-one moment with her. So it was at night. I literally like snuck. I was like crouching down in like the aisle of the bus. I was literally crouching down because she was sitting and I was trying to like be under her so that Shane couldn't see that we were talking. And I was like whispering. I was so paranoid. It was freaking crazy. And I was like, I think Biggie gave me this wrong clue. I think that he doesn't trust me. I don't know if we still have an alliance. I need help. You go talk to Shane. Give me the information.
Yeah.
So, but that's before I leaked anything. I asked for your help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you don't help, we're just like, oh no, Shane doesn't know anything. It's like, okay.
You're kind of set up. Like,
it kind of felt like that. And then the other part that I think that, like I said, maybe because we just haven't spoken enough about this part of my experience is after the Janae and Peter thing happened, I was miserable in the game. I had no one to talk to the point that I started talking to Rick. And I know in this context, some people like, you know, for us, it's like, gosh, you're talking to Rick. Cause like nobody really talked to Rick. I talked to Rick starting from Geneva because I actually felt bad for him. Like after Josh called him out for being a liar, and then Rachel also busted him out at that table in Switzerland too. The whole bus was against Rick. And it was bad to the point that I would just sit and have breakfast with him. I would kind of socialize with him a little bit because I put myself in his shoes and I was like, this is supposed to be a fun experience for everybody. And I know we're playing a game, but when it's starting to give that type of, you know, I don't like seeing somebody.
It gets icky. You don't want to cross into a personal boundary, you know.
And it was affecting him. And I saw it was affecting him. So I'm like, just me as a person, I'm just gonna sit and just talk with Rick a little bit. And sometimes my alliance didn't like that. They would be like, oh, you're sitting up there with Rick. And there is a scene, I think it is episode 2 or 3, where everybody else is in the back. And you can see the only 2 people that aren't in that scene are me and Rick, because I would sit with Rick in the front. When I would come in the morning, I would do my little makeup and stuff. I'd be like, Rick, you can sit with me. You know, I would just always give him the invitation. So then fast forward to after I tell my lie, I was like, I'm the Rick. You know, I'm the Rick.
You got Rick. You got Rick.
I got Rick. I mean, well, I ricked myself. I'll take accountability. I told my lie. I ricked myself. But my last, like that whole episode 4, those were like the worst days, you know, for me. And I was very just like to myself. I thought I still had Allie and I wanted to sit next to her on the bus, but she wouldn't sit next to me. She would say like, well, you know, we can't like, one time she did tell me, she said that people aren't feeling good about you, you know, like you need to work on your social game. I can't really be seen with you type of thing. And she just kept sitting with Shane the whole, so she was just, her and Shane were like this all the time.
She made a choice. She is not a girl's girl. She went for her man.
She went for her man.
You met 4 days ago, and you know, just because you're bunking next to each other in a bus, don't mean. Are they still together?
I won't speak on that, but you can probably make your own deductions from social media.
Right.
Yeah. So right. Hold on. I have to go back to that. Even when I was in the game and her and this whole Shane thing, it was my worst nightmare. Okay.
Yeah.
Because she was no longer focused on the game. She was focused on Shane and her man. And that wasn't good for me. And my perspective, I'm like, we're on a bus playing a game. This isn't real. Like, I know that you like have some things in common and you like think you have a connection. It's called like trauma bonding because like we're all in this like weird experience and we're isolated from the outside world. It is so hard not having not one person that, you know, knows you or you know them. So if they're coupling up and getting close, getting in each other's bed and stuff, you're going to feel that false sense of security with someone. But it's not real. So when Shane smashed her vase, in my head, I was like, okay, it should click to her now. He ain't with you, boo. He with Biggie. And you was supposed to be with me. So why am I being left hanging? Like, she knew that nobody was messing with me. She said it. She told
Mhm.
me. And I remember asking her, I was like, who? And she was like, she was kind of vague. She was like, kind of like everybody. She was like, I don't know. You just need to work on it. And then she scurried away to go sit with Shane. Like, that was the only interaction I had with Allie for like 2 days. So I'm just feeling like, dang, nobody wants me. I get super, super desperate. I was very lonely. And that's when you see me talking to Peter. Hey, Peter talking to me. I'm gonna talk back,
Yeah.
that happened later, and I think I can't remember with Peter if it was before or after the base challenge. I remember before the base challenge, I sat next to Rick and I had a heart to heart with Rick. I thought that because I kind of, extended a bit of an olive branch when he was isolated. Maybe he would feel pity on me and do the same. And you can see it in episode 4. It's my alliance plus Mac are sitting up in the front, and I'm me in the back with Kim, not my alliance. Peter and Janae, they don't feel good about me. Rick,
Mhm.
it's like I was like a misfit at that point.
Yeah.
I was a misfit. And I
I
was
think
talking with
unfortunately you got we call it the blood on my hands vote. You
yes.
unfortunately you spilled the least amount of blood for the most amount of people, I think, is what ended up happening. If we want to generalize how your vote ended up, I think that's really what it came down to is I'm not betraying one of my alliance members in a big way. I'm not going against my friend. I'm not going against kind of the bus favorite. Everybody was kind of like, we can just kind of,
I was gonna be the easy target at that point because
Yeah.
it's like, oh well, we all know Ty's, a big, big public liar. So let's just go with her.
A
And
public liar. I like that. I
a public
like
liar. A
that
public
because
liar. Yes, I was a
everybody's a
public
private
liar.
liar.
There were everybody else, they were telling their own lies, they were private liars. I was a public liar.
Mhm.
And I think that just made me just like the easy choice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But when I was with Rick in that moment, I was at first kind of just trying to play with his head, being like, oh yeah, dang, ever since that Janae thing, like my, Allie won't really talk to me. Then the more I had that conversation, I started being more real with myself and I started feeling it. And I actually started tearing up a little bit because I was like, I just actually miss her as a friend because I literally had nobody to talk to,
Right. She was your Shane.
She,
This is my looking
Yeah.
at it from the outside. It's like, and specifically on that vase challenge, when Shane broke Allie's vase, and I'm just like, okay, so Shane has now chose his boy, and now his boy is making a side alliance with Rick, and for Allie, I feel like she has Mac kind of in her back pocket simultaneously. It's like, if we just push Tai to the side, I can jump in here, and now there's 5v1. That's kind of how I'm looking at it, and like me and Nick just said, how we say it's like, the least amount of blood on our hands. I do unfortunately think that that's the position you are put in, even though as a viewer, I think that should have been Rick, but that's just just not how the cookie crumbled.
yeah, I felt like that Amsterdam leg, everything was working against me. I was like, we have this challenge where if I win, and those are random selections, by the way, me for the team captain for the eating challenge. If I win, I don't even get the clue. Now we're doing a challenge about turning our back on each other and smashing people's vases who we think isn't trustworthy. I'm losing that too. I was like, this is awful. Like, can I play a game?
The
And
universe wanted you off that bus
I just
some
had to
way or the
go. I
other.
just had to go. And like I said, they got me off the bus. They all did different things. Like when after the lie came out and Shane, he was seen talking with I think Biggie and somebody else, and he said, excuse me, that he heard me yelling like stop it with another girl. Do you remember
Oh, I
that?
remember him saying that on the bus. Yes, he was like, I heard her screaming or having conversation with
Screaming.
another. Yes, I remember that.
And he said I was screaming, stop it. Screaming? I was not screaming. That never happened. I was yelling at somebody. I even texted one of my producers. I was like screaming. And she was like, I don't know what he's talking about. Like, that shit did not happen. But look. That is Shane covering his ass and making sure that the spotlight is still on me. Now,
Yep.
do I think that was right for him to do it as my alliance member? No. As a game player, quick thinking, it was
Yes.
smart. Quick thinking,
Yes.
it was smart. So that's why I'm like, when I'm telling these things, I don't know if people are taking it like I'm mad about it or something. you literally got me, and I gave you credit for the move. Like, he was swift. It flabbergasted me because in that moment I was in the back comforting Allie about Shane, and he ran up there, throwing me under the bus. I'm like, damn, that's brutal. But that was the game that we were playing. I never really felt like I said, Shane really, really cared about keeping me as an alliance member because Allie and I were so close. And she told me that between her relationship with her and Shane, they had an agreement that Biggie was like, if Shane had information, he would tell Biggie first. If Allie had information, she would tell me first. So it's like their friends were like their number ones or something. But that didn't work because Allie didn't come, to me. She could have helped me. Shane barely even told her that we were in Amsterdam. She had to ask. Did you see that?
It's just so weird to me. I don't know. It's just
he didn't even really tell her. She was like, "Are you going to tell me where we are?" When she was getting off the bus in that scene, and then he was just like, "Amsterdam." I'm like, "You have to beg and ask your man where we are." He was about to let you just go walk off that bus and put anything on the map. You had to ask him. He wasn't looking out for you. So why are you still prioritizing him over me? But Allie, she's a bit younger than me, and especially when we were on the bus, I felt kind of like big sister to her. Yeah. So I've always kind of been like protective over her and especially her feelings. So when she was really upset about Shane on the bus, I felt like I had to be there for her. And I instead of cleaning up my social game, because the bus was looking at me like I was crazy, I should have been talking to Biggie. I should have been fixing my game after the whole lie was exposed or the lie was told or whatever. Instead, I was comforting Allie because she was upset feeling betrayed by Shane. And even like, last week I said I was with them in Austin. She was upset about, it's our first time getting negative comments and stuff. There for her about that, extending myself. And then in that YouTube, I think she said something like, she made a post for me, an Instagram post, and I didn't like it. This is over an Instagram post.
That's like when you didn't post me on your story for my birthday. Okay.
Like that kind of thing.
I'm 25. Like, grow up.
But if that's it, I thought the bond that we had was stronger than you didn't like my Instagram post, because she did make an Instagram post after I got eliminated. We've been friends. Yeah. Okay. I just got eliminated. Y'all know my notifications look like with even my little 3,000 followers. That shit was crazy. Right. I'm trying to focus on let me engage back and like back to my fans. I did not pay attention to her post, but that's not because I don't have any.
You can't see every post, every comment.
You can't.
It's impossible.
It is impossible, and especially after you get out on a show and there's all this attention on you, and people have I had hundreds and hundreds of notifications. I didn't like it, or no, I think she said I liked it and then I unliked it. I don't know. I know that I did there was a fan account and I liked theirs because they said so happy you guys are still friends. And I was like, yeah, we are still friends. It is just a game. And I think also I think my post had something to do with it, because I made my post kind of just playing up yes, I had a messy game. People are split on what I did. I felt, the lover girl, she wasn't being a girl's girl to me. She was being a lover girl. Blah, blah, blah. Shane didn't like that. Blah, blah, blah. I think that ruffled some feathers maybe. But again, that's me speaking from my perspective when I was in the game, in a game context, not in a, maybe she's taking it personally. She's just not a girl's girl, ever. You wasn't a girl's girl on the bus. Okay. You was not a girl's girl on the bus. And maybe she can't accept that I have a different takeaway. I can accept that in her opinion, I cheated on the alliance first. So she thinks that she was justified in letting me go home because I cheated on the alliance. What alliance? At that point it was really, really shaky. But if that's her, that's her opinion, that's fine. Like I said, you can have yours, I can have mine.
Yeah. Two people can have two very different experiences in the same situation. It doesn't invalidate the other person's.
But it's if I don't agree with her narrative, it's if I don't agree that she is a girl's girl and she was justified, then it's it seems like it's starting a problem when I just don't agree with her opinion, where we're in two different situations. You're the one that had the man, I was the one over here by myself. So I'm going to feel I was by myself. You didn't have my back. That's how that came off. And I thought it was also, I don't know. there were some other things in that video, and they were admitting like we all did things on the bus that caused us to lie. It's not the end of the day. It's a game.
But
So
if
why
that's
is it
the
still
energy, then keep it from the start to the end. Why are we picking and choosing when that energy is relevant?
So I just was very, like I said, I actually felt blindsided that they had Biggie and Shane on there and they just took turns picking apart every single thing that I've said and calling me more of a liar. If that's really how they feel, it's very unfortunate. I've reached out to Biggie several times after the bus. He's never, I mean, he'll text back sometimes, but I wanted to get on the phone. I wanted to talk. I offered to come down to, I think he's in like Tennessee or Kentucky or something. I offered to go down there to film content with him. I really wanted to kind of build these bonds with people outside of the bus.
Kumbaya, the whole experience.
All right, everybody, if you are enjoying Tai on Destination X, be sure to keep watching on Peacock, and you can check out our social medias. We will put them down in the description below because there's plenty of more fun content where that came from. We are so thankful to have you on our show today. We have loved you on Destination X, and who knows, maybe we'll see you on All Stars or Big Brother or wherever.
Traders or anywhere.
Wherever the bus is going to take you next, we will gladly be supporting you. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having
everybody,
me.
if you love reality TV content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel because we are giving you the hottest reality tea about reality TV. And as always, we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.